Hey guys, welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and yes, I'm trying to show off Thanos down here. Hey guys, welcome to Dylan's Little Hobbies, and in today's video, we got Endgame. Endgame. I'm talking about Avengers Endgame. I'm going to spoil the entire movie, because this is a spoiler review. If you have not watched this movie yet, well, you should have. Do not watch this video. Do not spoil yourself. Just get off this video. Get off the internet. Go and watch it. This movie is an experience, and you need to see it in the theater. It is a fantastic movie, and if you are any little bit of a Marvel fan, you are going to want to go see this movie. Okay, I'm gonna wait 5 seconds, and hopefully all of you guys are gone. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about Avengers Endgame, shall we? Now, when this movie starts off, you know, I wasn't expecting it, but it was really great to catch up with Hawkeye and how he lost his family, and that's the thing. This movie is really about the Avengers coming back together, realizing they lost, getting over it, and undoing what they did wrong, which is just, for me, a great movie. I really enjoyed it. Now, all of the theories about Captain Marvel saving Iron Man and Nebula, well, you were correct. She saves her, and you know what, in terms of her, now she plays an important role in defeating Thanos, she really does, but, is she really a big part of the movie? No. In terms of character, she's not even there. Which a lot of people might not like, and I don't know if it's because of backlash against Captain Marvel, the movie, or anything like that, but I can tell you this. For me, I never really cared about Captain Marvel, and considering that we don't pay much attention to her, just gives them more time to pay attention to the characters that I do care about. Now, when we get Iron Man back, Tony Stark's kind of crazy, he's kind of over it, and he kind of lost. He's done. He just wants to put up the Iron Man suit, wants to put up his cape, and just call it a day. That's all he needs to. That's all he needs to do. And that's exactly what he does. Now, what about Captain Marvel? Well, Captain Marvel is ready for a fight. I don't think she really realized how powerful Thanos actually is. Which, considering that she's about to face him, yeah, I don't really like her odds. But here we go. Right off the bat, she goes after Thanos. Now here's the fact. Thanos used the stones to destroy the other stones. That's right. Only the power of the stones can destroy the stones. I mean, you gotta remember that Scarlet Witch was created from the power of the stones. And the only one that can destroy it is the stones themselves. That's what he did, and it nearly killed him. He was at his weakest when they attacked. And the plan was to go get him, get the stones, snap their fingers, bring everybody back, but he destroyed the stones. What I like, though, is it wasn't Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call her. It wasn't Captain Marvel that finally did the deed and killed Thanos. In fact, it was Thor. Now, I want to say this. When I first saw this scene, anger popped up in my head when I first saw the scene. I was like, that was just Thanos. Now, I understand he just destroyed the Infinity Stones. He is at his weakest point. He is vulnerable. He has no team to back him up. But you just chop off his head. Granted, I love the joke. Thor actually did go for the head. I love the joke. But, that was Thanos. You just killed off Thanos in the first 3-4 minutes of the movie. What? What? After making this character a great villain. You know, a very much in-depth, crazy, insane, but understandable villain. You kill him off in the first 5 minutes of the movie. When I first saw it, I was absolutely mad. But I didn't storm out of the theater. I didn't storm out of the theater. I watched the rest of this movie. Granted, I will say this, I was not expecting it, and you got some anger out of me, you got some emotion out of me for that scene. And the movie is fantastic because of it, because that was just something complete. I was not expecting Thor to chop off his head. I was not expecting that at all. Anyway, we go ahead and skip 5 years later. We skip to Captain America, and he's just trying to, you know, move on with this life. Get over it. That's what, the thing is, that's what he's had to do with his entire existence, is just move on and get over it. But this is his biggest and his worst loss yet. You know it's gonna be difficult, a little bit more difficult than just going to a little bit of a therapy session to get over this. I mean, you guys lost. And then we have, of course, Black Widow, and she's pretty much the glue of the team. She's just trying to hold what little left of the team is there. She is trying to hold it all together, and God, I feel for Black Widow in this scene. I absolutely just feel for her. Oh man, that would have to be painful. You know, especially when she says something about she had nothing and then she had this. God, man, do I want a Black Widow movie, don't I? And you know what? They are actually going to be making a Black Widow origin story. It will be an origin story, we know this, because unfortunately, she does die in this movie. And in that scene, you know, I never really cared much about Hawkeye. I thought he was always a cool character, but dang, when both of them are running to their deaths, trying to save the other, and it ends up being Black Widow, I kinda wanted it to be Hawkeye. But that's only because of how great of a character they made Black Widow, and they haven't done that to Hawkeye yet, but I believe that in the Black Widow movie that they're going to tell his backstory too, so eventually I am going to love Hawkeye more, but the fact is, when she died, that had me teary-eyed. That had me just about crying when Black Widow died. My God. Scarlett Johansson's acting in this movie is just fantastic. Everyone's acting in this movie is fantastic. But especially the main six. Especially Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., Thor, you know, Hulk, and everyone else. Just the acting is so incredible in this movie. It's a great movie. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go ahead and talk about the rest of this movie, shall we? So, what happens in this movie? How do they fix the problem of Thanos? How do they fix the problem that the stones are destroyed? Well, everyone's mourning the death of the other Avengers, including Scott Lang. Oh! Guess what? Scott Lang didn't die. We know from the Ant-Man movie, and that's why I really like, you know, I never really was a fan of the first Ant-Man movie, but I enjoyed myself with it. The second Ant-Man movie was a whole lot better. However, I thought that the second Ant-Man movie was only going to be an explanation as why he wasn't in Infinity War, but no, instead what they do is they make that movie a lot more relevant to the whole story. It turns out that Ant-Man is our first time traveler. Yep, that's right. The quantum physics that are in the Ant-Man movies are what the time travel story is all about. And I think that's cool, how they just bring something like that in to make this whole thing believable. And time travel. I know what you're saying. Time travel? Time travel? Really time travel? Are you serious? This is the way I look at it. Time travel to me is my absolute favorite thing in fiction. If it's done poorly, oh my god, it can just lead to throw up. It can lead to puke. It really, really can. But if done correctly, it can be fascinating. Now, it will always create plot holes, but it can be fascinating. And I think what they do with this movie was very, very smart. Very, very smart. I actually really enjoyed the explanation of time travel in this movie, and I also really enjoyed the fact that we have time travel in this movie at all. A lot of people aren't gonna like it. A lot of people are gonna be like, time travel? Really? And granted, if I saw it on paper, I would be one of those people too. Even though time travel is one of my favorite things in fiction, I understand, but I think they did it really right. So, anyway, Scott Lang shows back up. He just went through time travel. 5 years was 5 hours to him. He went through the quantum world, and all he wants to do now is undo the snap. So, he goes to the Avengers, tells them his plan. Everyone's like, time travel? And even he thinks it's nuts. But you know what's nuts? Black Widow gets emails from a raccoon. Nothing's that crazy anymore when you get emails from a raccoon. So, the fact is, we have to have a big old mind on it. We go to Tony Stark, and guess what? Tony Stark, the last 5 years, has gotten everything he's wanted in life. He's got a nice little cabin, he's got a wife, and a life, and a child. Now, the kid actor, I don't know who it was, but adorable little girl. I thought it was a lot of fun having her. The fact is that Iron Man had a daughter, though. That's just great. That's something that we kind of always wanted for him, and because of that, of course, he's not gonna want to undo everything that has been done in the past 5 years. So, of course, he says no to it, but he lost. And that kind of dwells on him a bit. So, of course, he's going to fix time travel. Eventually, he does, and he heads back to the team. Now, Captain America couldn't give up when Iron Man said no, so he got the next biggest brain he could think of. He got Hulk. He got Bruce Banner. On paper, the Bruce Banner Hulk combination does not make sense. And on paper, if I was reading it, I would be like, no. But it does make sense. It's a progression on the character. And I kind of like more of the idea that Hulk just became smart, more than Bruce Banner took over Hulk. But, it's a progression on the character. It wasn't the worst thing in the movie. No, actually it was. But considering that that was the worst part of the movie for me, and it didn't really bother me at all, pretty good movie. It was at least enjoyable. The jokes with Hulk was great. They had a couple of funny bits about Hulk. smashing, but not really wanting to smash because it's Bruce Banner's mind, not Hulk's mind. It was funny. It was good. I enjoyed it. But I will be honest with you, I kind of miss the Hulk smashing. Yeah. Well, moving on, we get Iron Man back on the team, and we just need Thor. So we go back to Thor, and Beer Belly Thor is what we get when we see Thor again. Oh my god, but it's a progression on the character. It makes sense. I was not expecting, so let me show you a picture. This is Chris Hemsworth. This is the guy who plays Thor. Look at that. I'm not into guys, but you don't think that's going to be Beer Belly Thor. And yet, that's exactly what we get. And every joke with them, everything, it's a great progression on Thor's character. And out of all of the characters with their progression, I think Thor has the most of it. And I just absolutely loved Beer Belly Thor. I still cannot get over Beer Belly Thor. That's what I'm calling him too, Beer Belly Thor. That was just hilarious. Anyway, they figure out time travel. Now they just have to find when they're going to go get the stones. And they eventually do. We have a couple of pretty good jokes. This movie is so darn funny. You think Avengers Infinity War was great, and you think Thor Ragnarok was funny. Now, Thor Ragnarok was funny, maybe a little bit too funny. But this movie was hilarious. And you know what's great about this movie? All of the jokes, all of the humor, it fits the characters, and most importantly, it fits the story. Like, every single bit of this movie feels like a progression on the story, including the humor itself, which is just great to me. It's just great. And you think, with everything this movie has to do and pull off and bring all these characters back and and give all these characters their moment, you think there's no way they can pull this off. I always thought that they were going to do a great movie, but I never thought they were going to pull off a masterpiece. And you know what? It's incredible that they did. Granted, it's a 3-hour movie. They had to go do a 3-hour movie to pull this off, but even with just 3 hours, they pulled this type of movie off. And that is 100% incredible. Now, time travel, well, time travel's a jerk. Time travel is always gonna bite you in the butt, and that's exactly what happens. And I don't really want to spoil the rest of the movie, even though I spoiled a lot of the movie so far. But the fact is, there's a bunch of really good moments. I mean, there's Tony Stark meeting his dad again. That is great. There's this moment with Captain America and his girl. And you know what's great about it? At the very end of the movie, Captain America actually does get to go back and have a life. And that is fantastic. Now, I kind of think he should have gave his shield to Bucky instead of the other guy, but it's not really a big deal. But what is a big deal is the fact that Iron Man unfortunately dies. This had me tearing up. This had me just about crying. Iron Man, Tony Stark, is my favorite character in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And he was my favorite character before Robert Downey Jr. You know, something that I just love about Tony Stark is that he is a very, very smart genius. He is not a superpowered guy, you know? He's just a guy with a brain trying to rewrite his wrongs. That's what Iron Man was always going to be. And with what Robert Downey Jr. did with the character was amazing. Amazing. I was always a fan of Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. But Robert Downey Jr., I want to say this. thank you to Robert Downey Jr. personally for making this movie. In fact, my personal thanks to everybody who made this movie, because it is just one of the best movies. Now, with that said, I called it a masterpiece, and it is a masterpiece, but what do you do when you got two masterpieces? You put them up against each other. Avengers Endgame versus Infinity War. Which one do I prefer? You know what? I loved Endgame. I really loved Endgame. But the fact is, Thanos, I mean, granted he's an important character in the movie, of course he is, but everything Infinity War was able to do to the character of Thanos, I prefer this movie. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but I personally enjoyed Infinity War over this movie. But with that said, this movie is 100% the biggest movie of the year. Oh, that's right, we have Star Wars coming up. What are my thoughts to Star Wars versus Marvel? And this is kind of funny. Disney's only true competition is Disney itself. Look, I enjoyed the Star Wars trailer, and it's not that I don't think Star Wars has a chance, but really, after this movie, I'm gonna say after viewing this movie, I have to view Star Wars to really make up my mind, but I think right now, Star Wars has no chance against Marvel right now. But we'll have to see when Episode 9 comes out. Let me know down in the comments down below. What did you guys think of this movie? And there are hundreds and hundreds of moments that I did not really get to talk about. I can only make this video so long. I don't want to make it 7 hours long, but I could probably talk about this movie for 7 hours. I swear. I just love this movie. It was a great movie. Let me know down in the comments below. Did you like it? I hope you watch it before you watch this video, because I spoiled everything. At least the biggest parts of the movie. Are you gonna watch this movie again and again and again? What did you think about the time travel thing? What did you think about Hulk? Was Thor hilarious or what in this movie? I absolutely love Thanos. I wish he was more in the movie, but I understand why they didn't have as much of him. We wanted to pay more attention to the other characters. And Black Widow. Did her death surprise you as much as me? How about Thanos' death in the beginning of the movie? Did that surprise you as much as me? And what do you think about Star Wars versus Endgame? Star Wars versus Marvel. Let me know about that in the comments down below. Because I really am interested in you guys' thoughts about Endgame versus Star Wars Episode 9 right now. And I'll talk about this again whenever Star Wars Episode 9 comes out and I see that and I do my review on that stuff and stuff like that. With that said, I absolutely 100% love this movie. And if you have not seen my non-spoiler review, the fact is, there's a lot that I talked about in my non-spoiler review that I didn't talk about here. Yes, it's non-spoiler, but go ahead and feel free to watch that as well. Thank you guys for watching. And this video ended up being 24 minutes long. Hey, just chiming down in here, I was editing this video and I noticed two things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't end up talking about, so I'm going to talk about them now. It makes this video that much longer. Number one, Captain America with Thor's hammer. That was, number one, a great callback, and it was just so awesome seeing him use both the Thor hammer and his shield, Mjolnir, against Thanos. That was just awesome. And then the joke about, you get the little one, I'll get the big one, that's funny. That was funny. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about that I just, for some reason, it didn't pop up in my head, I don't know or anything like that. The fact is, when Hulk snaps his fingers, and it's Hulk snapping his fingers, bringing everyone back, you know, I kind of feel like it should have been Thor, because Thor, number one, he is the strongest Avenger. I don't care what you say. Thor is stronger than Hulk. I'm sorry. Yeah, Thor is stronger than Hulk. I get that he's beer belly Thor, and he's not the strongest right now, but it's still Thor, you know? Beer belly Thor is still Thor, so. But you know what? I do like the fact that it was Hulk. It just made Hulk that much more important to the story, which in terms of this movie, he wasn't really part of it for a while, so I like the fact that they brought him back to do that. And another thing that I really like is the fact that those who stayed dead, stayed dead. You know, you couldn't bring back anybody Thanos killed before the snap. You couldn't bring back Black Widow, and you couldn't bring our timeline Gamora. You know what I mean? Those are actually dead. Now, as for Gamora from the other timeline being back in here, I don't know what that's gonna happen. I mean, like I said, plot holes always with time. When you're doing time travel, plot holes always with time travel. But, yeah, those are the two things that I really had to talk about, so. And I can just talk about this movie all day. I better shut up before I end up talking about it all day. Thank you guys for watching. I am out. Bye.